Oh, we are back. We are back. We are done talking about baseball.
No, bring the Jays back. It was much more fun than what we're going to be talking about today.
It was more fun. The ending wasn't, but it's a little more fun than what you're dealing with, Clarkey. Me, I'm just a casual observer here. And look, we got to delve back into hockey. There's a lot of storylines to get to, but I don't think there's any bigger where we are right now than what's going on with your Toronto Maple Leafs. And when it comes to the Maple Leafs, there's some people out there that we know that are really synonymous with covering the team, being associated with the team. And our guest this week is certainly that. A longtime face on Leafs TV. Clarkey, you go way back with this guy, a preeminent voice when it comes to Maple Leafs coverage. We are very pleased to be joined by our friend Paul Hendrick. Henny, how you doing, my friend?
Thank you. And I'm laughing listening to that introduction, Clarkey. You and I go back to the era where we had to do a lot of storytelling at Leafs TV because the team and its expectations were quite low. They didn't make the playoffs. I got to coach soccer mid-April, quite early every year. But now the expectations are a lot higher, and they should be a lot higher. And it goes beyond storytelling. They've got to start winning some games. My concern, yes, no. I think they're better from what they've found, but we can dig into that a little bit.
Okay, let me start, Ryan. I need to start because
please.
Henny and I had a little difference of opinions about one guy named Mitch Marner. And are you able to just say, there you go, Clarkey, this is what you wanted. You wanted him off the team.
Yeah.
They're struggling. Is it Mitch Marner related?
It starts there, Clarkey. I mean, that's just a major domino. And I got my brother-in-law. I know a lot of people thought, well, he's not good for the room. I don't know what he was like for the room, but I will admit he wanted to go. His dad wanted him to go, and his agent wanted him to go. And good, he's gone, and good luck, Mitch. But that's a generational talent. I'm trying to come up with a Blue Jay comparison of waving goodbye, not necessarily to Trey Savage, but something along those lines 5 years into his career, well, more than that, 9 years. But he was fifth all time in franchise scoring. I'll tell you, Austin misses him, and the Leafs miss him. Now, there's other things going on. That's a huge domino, Mitch going. And I wish he was still here. He didn't want to be here, so that's neither here nor there. But yes, they do miss him. And Clarkey, why did you want him gone? I remind me.
Oh, God. Where do we start?
Well, here,
tell him the nickname. Tell him the nickname,
Mr. Fancy Pants. I just didn't think. There's no doubt he was a great player and figure skater. However, when it came in the playoffs, I just felt he wasn't the type of guy who was going to push them to the promised land, and I think it was proved out year after year. Now, listen, they're going to struggle this season. There's no doubt. And they got to get to the playoffs. But my next question is, if they get to the playoffs, I'm just worried that the window's closed. And I'm panicking as a fan. The window's closed. Let's start cleaning house. Give me some hope, Henny, that maybe this team will maybe perform in the playoffs more than they have in the past with Mitch Marner gone and a different type of team.
Yeah, I hope that's the case. I'm just going to add to what you said. We didn't see it from Mitch and the rest of the gang up until this point, and we're not ever going to get a chance to see him because he's not here. And Steve Yzerman, Alex Ovechkin, 13 and 14 years respectively before their teams won a Stanley Cup with those two individuals. We'll never know with Mitch. You just don't get talent like that. But now let's try to paint a rosy picture on this. I think Craig Berube is a great coach. I like their defense as bad as they've looked. Joseph Woll's coming back, and I'm hoping he can settle down and get going because I think Anthony Stolar's success will depend on what Joseph Woll is able to do and vice versa. And I think if they get the goaltending reestablished, I think the defense will look after itself. And I think there's enough offense, as we've seen, to get the job done up front. So I don't think all is lost. And that's it on Mitch. We don't have to talk about him. He's gone.
Exactly.
I think they've got more than enough to get the job done and get this team into the postseason. And getting Joseph Woll back is an important first step. Ryan, I don't know what you think, but I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be important for them just in terms of having some health, because this team is also, on top of not playing well, they're not healthy right now. And I mean, beyond those concerns right now, Henny, I genuinely wonder if there's something that you're seeing with the way that the team's playing, outside of obviously not having Mitch's talent there to unlock the power play in particular. What in particular are you seeing that's wrong with the Leafs and the start they're having right now, and particularly the way they start hockey games?
Yeah, I think commitment to overall team defense. And I don't know why. I mean, it's not like they haven't done it before, but it shows you how good a league this is. And you've got to get off on the right foot. You've got to stay relatively healthy. Teams are all going to get hurt along the way, so no excuses there. As long as Austin isn't out for a long period of time, the indications are he won't be. I don't know if he's going to be the same player he was without number 16 in the lineup, but he's still one of the world's premier talents, so he's going to find a way. William Nylander, I think, is a key. But beyond that, they're going to have to find a way to get something generated with a team that's not quite as good offensively. I know the early offensive numbers seem good. I think they're going to come down as we proceed in toward December. But they've just got to be better defensively. They've got to be better. And that takes that's a lot of work. I mean, and Bob McGill, Clarkey, our former colleague at Leafs TV, the fun zone is the O zone. But, you got to do the work in the kitchen. That's back in the D zone. And that's where all the fun starts. But they just haven't done that. And it's not from a lack of coaching. I don't know. I guess it's why they play the games. It's why we pull our hair out and why we get grayer as we go along. I don't know if there's a magic pill, but I see on Twitter or X that, we've got to get rid of Craig Berube. No, we don't have to get rid of Craig Berube. It's not him at all.
I wanted to ask you about that, Henny, because that chatter is starting on a number of Toronto talk shows. You see it online, people whispering about it. Like, I don't understand how this team can, and when I say the team, I mean the players. I don't understand how Brad Treliving can let them get away with something like that. This guy's only been here like 14 months. He's a Stanley Cup winner. He's hard-nosed. He knows how to win. And these guys are sagging in front of him. I don't know that Brad Treliving can afford to give them that type of bullet.
Yeah. It's ironic. They could use a guy like Craig Berube in the lineup. You think about what went on in Boston the other night, right? You think about what went on in Toronto the night before that, or a couple of nights before that. They could use a Craig Berube. I'm going to tell you a story, and I may have told it on this program, but we were with the Leafs in Vancouver after having played in Calgary the night before. Joe Bowen, myself, Dennis Bayak, and Jim Ralph just having a beer, chatting things over at the Pan Pacific. Gary Roberts steps by and just says hello, and we're just chatting a bit. And Rob's phone rings. He picks it up. It's Craig Berube giving him shit for not engaging him in a fight the night before. The Flames were losing to the Leafs. Berube wanted to create something, so he went to Gary. They're literally lined up side by side at a face-off circle, and Gary was like, "I'm not going to fight you." And Craig calls him the next day to ream him out for not allowing him the opportunity to fight and at least justify his role in the Calgary lineup and maybe get the Flames going. And Gary was like, "No, there's no need for that." But that's Craig Berube. He's a tough nut. And Ryan, as you mentioned, 2019 Stanley Cup champion with a team that was really struggling at Christmas that year. They were in Toronto just maybe before Christmas. And I remember talking to Alex Pietrangelo that, this team is going to get parceled off into different points. And he looked up at me and he was very polite, but he was not very happy with what I was insinuating. And sure enough, a very proud veteran in that team found its way, got Jordan Bennington, and things move on. Long story short, there are different parts of the season we've got to get to and get through to see what we've got with this Maple Leaf team. And they're not where we would like to see them right now. I like to see Dakota Joshua a little tougher. There's a few of those guys. They've just got to be tougher. And they've got to be tougher on the back end as well. And not have their goaltender run. So I think they can do it. I think there's more than enough talent. Brad knows what he's doing in terms of putting this team together. Craig Berube certainly knows. But again, to circle this and put a bow right on top of it, I wish we had Craig Berube in our lineup.
Absolutely. And you talk about that decor right now and the struggles it's having. Obviously, Tanev hurt. Everybody else basically playing not to the level we saw. I mean, this is the same group that, was really good defensively last year, especially when it came to limiting 5-on-5 high danger chances. Yeah. And they were stout. They could move the puck. Everybody has taken a step back. Like everybody bar Oliver Ekman-Larsson looks lost out there.
I wanted to jump in there if I could,
please,
Brian.
Please so.
Henny, you and I were there in 2012 in Pittsburgh when Morgan Riley was drafted. And, Brian Burke said he was the number one guy on their list. And he certainly seemed like he was going to be that elite defenseman. And even at the beginning of the season, he seemed to have a little more jump in his step. You've seen this guy since he was drafted. What do you think is going on with Morgan Riley?
Yeah, we were talking about, as you mentioned, the start of the season, he's got jump in his step. Yeah, he looks lighter, all of these things. He's been around long enough. And, to add to what you're saying about Berkey, Morgan blew out his ACL in a game in November the previous year. I mean, it's his draft year. And Berkey said they'd have taken him first overall regardless. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's reached his ceiling, which I still think is pretty good, and you've got to surround him with others. He's never had a shot from the point. I always wish that he could have done that to help augment the power play. He's never had that. He's on a pretty good contract as far as the team's concerned. $7 million per year? Mm-hmm. I think he's at where he's supposed to be at. But again, it comes back to number 16. This is more than a one-person team, right? It's a team, and all the others have to step in and do their part as well. So, he's taken a step back in the last little while, but I think we're going to see him contribute and settle in. If he was ever to go, you'd have to replace him, and these guys are hard to replace, especially at $7 million per year. Yeah, that draft, 2012, right? In Pittsburgh.
Yeah, in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Pretty incredible stuff. And I mean, honestly, like you looked at that draft, I mean, one of the weaker ones in terms of high end talent. I still think that if you went back, you would probably take him certainly in the top 3, maybe even 1. I mean, he's certainly proven to be a really, really good defense. Is he elite? No, but he's really, really good. So, I mean, you can't say that it was a burned pick or something. Like, he's given the Leafs a lot of good minutes. And let's be fair to him here, too. Like, he stepped in as a young guy and put up with a lot of bad teams and bad partners, too. So, I mean, like, he is a guy that, because he's the veteran, is catching a lot of flack. But I think that they've got a lot of problems on that back end that far exceed his concern. Here's a concern, and it's a concern for me that I've unfortunately had to bring up with our friend Clarkey here numerous times, especially over the last couple of years. And it's a concern that's starting to grow, not because of what we know this guy can do, because what he can do is incredible. I'm starting to get real worried about Austin Matthews and his long-term health. Like, this guy is banged up all of the time. He's banged up more than my first vehicle, the 1998 Ford Ranger that I had. I'm just saying. And it was blue too. Yeah. Is Austin Matthews, because this was a topic the other day on Overdrive, is he a top 10 player in the league right now? Because I don't know that I can make that argument for him the way he's playing. And couple that health factor in, I'm scared for this guy. I really, really am.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm sure we can come up with 10 players who might precede Austin at this point in time.
Right now.
For sure.
Now. I'm sure we can.
There might be one on the Leafs better.
Yeah.
Willie, right?
Willie. Yeah. Hey, there's a guy, when they signed him, we were in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and that finally signed right near the point, and I think in December, where they had to get him signed. Otherwise, they don't get him for that year. And everybody was upset over the cost of that contract. Willie just steady as she goes. I think we've got to be patient as hard as it is patient, they haven't won a cup since 1967. But none of that means anything. None of that means anything to this group. This group is a whole different group. But right. I felt more confident last year. Ifs and buts, candies and nuts. Stolarz doesn't get hurt. I think it's a part. That team took the Stanley Cup champions to Game 7, and I firmly believe if Stolarz is healthy, that they get a chance to maybe they should have won in Game 6. Like if that was a good team last year. So why all of a sudden are they not that good this year? That's the big mystery. You know, if we're to do this this show again, say January, it'd be interesting to see where we're at.
Yeah. Well, we should do that. We need to have another check-in with you, because that is where the rubber's really going to be hitting the road, Henny. Like and hopefully Austin Matthews, who's only supposed to be out for roughly a week and a half with this latest injury, hopefully he's playing when that happens. Like, my biggest thing with the guy is, like, people keep on telling me, oh, he's going to break Ovi's record. And I'm like, how? He's not at this rate. He's not going to be playing at 34. Like, and I'm starting to get nervous for the guy with the wrist, the shoulder, the knee, the hip. Like, we're talking about injuries dotted all over this poor guy's body, and he's a big kid and he can use his size. I wish he'd use it more. And I'm starting to get nervous that, like, by the end of this contract, which is a short deal, that he might just be like a 75, 80 point player and not a 100 point, 55 goal scorer. I'm scared for Clarkey that's what we're looking at.
Henny, is there one thing you like? Is it his shot? Is it his skating? Like, is there one thing that you can see?
I agree.
That's what I think.
Shot doesn't seem the same. It doesn't have the same velocity. Can you imagine Wendell Clark? Now, there's a guy whose career was cut way short because of the way he played the game and all these injuries. Two different players. But the shot's not there. But you know what? Somebody's got to get him that puck. And it's okay. I'm not going to mention.
There's Mitch. You can say it. Yeah. And Michelli is not the answer. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he's not the answer.
Yeah, it's tough too, because, like, you're looking at a guy and you're paying him to be a top 10 player, if not maybe a top 5 player. You've seen the numbers that he can put up when he is healthy. I mean, like, 69 goals is no joke. It's probably in the top 3 of modern day goal scoring seasons for sure. And you look at that and think, like, okay, this guy drives the bus. And you're watching him right now, and now he's hurt, but I'm watching him. I'm like, where's his foot on the pedal? Like, he looks like he's kind of in neutral sometimes, and that's not what I want to see out of a guy making that salary and watching his old highlights and knowing that those 60s are in there. I want to see that guy driving the bus, and, like, he's not doing it, Henny.
I know. And Willie's there. And, you know, the other guy who's there, not the little engine, he's just the engine that could. John Tavares just continues to motor along.
Just chugging.
The fact that he doesn't have
chugging away.
If he had it, still be the same guy. Again, I know it's early. We're not quite at the quarter pole yet. But you've got to get this thing going sooner or later, because after a while, you just can't make up the room in the standings. These, 3-point games, it's just almost impossible to get back in there, stay there, and then have gas in the tank for the inevitable first round of the playoffs. But you're seeing some other teams with some confidence. Montreal, obviously, and Buffalo's back where they always have been. Poor Duffer, Brian Duffer.
Poor Duffer, yeah.
At least TV. They haven't made the playoffs, I don't think, since he's been there. He's been gone.
No. Spinning the tires. Like, that's what they're doing in Buffalo. It's sad, really.
Yeah, but to get back to Austin, he's a world-class athlete. I think we're going to see him. We're going to. We have to, and he's just too damn good a player not to, regardless of whether who's in the lineup or not with him alongside in that line. I think Matthew Nyes is going to have to step up again. How old's Matthew? 22, 23? 23. I mean, he's still relatively new to the league. But if this were the San Jose Sharks, I don't think anybody would matter or care about this conversation. But it's the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we've got a great podcast like this and others, and just dissecting it down game by game by game. But I remember telling Paul Marner years ago when he was upset that Mitch wasn't getting the ice time that Austin was getting. This is in the rookie year. And I just said, listen, if this team wins a Stanley Cup, Yonge Street's going to be called Mitchell Marner Boulevard. Like, don't fret it. Like, I mean, it's high risk, it's high reward, but this is a great place to play. We're seeing it with the Toronto Blue Jays and players wanting to come to this destination. Why not the Toronto Maple Leafs? I believe that holds true. They're a great organization. Clarkey, we know how good their facilities are. Mm-hmm. And I still think this team has an opportunity to thrive, but they're going to have to find a way to thrive in a different area, and that means playing better defensive hockey. But the goaltending's got to get better. It's just
no doubt. Was Paul Marner was Paul Marner like a distraction?
I mean, we were in the room to an extent, but it may have been for the coaching staff. It may have been.
Yeah.
But Paul's been that way right from.
Well, we've seen the whatever it was, Fifth Estate story
the
or whatever
documentary,
the CBC documentary when he was 12 years old.
We've seen the footage. Yeah, anyway. He's an interesting guy. I mean, hey, you can't fault a dad for being invested. Is his investment the healthiest thing all the time? Maybe not, but
you got to. I
don't live with him.
Fastball. You got to see Clarkey coaching his daughters in fastball.
I've heard the stories.
What stories? There's no stories.
Don't worry about it.
When you've got star kids who you're coaching, and Clarkey had them.
Oh yeah.
We get involved, right? Clarkey, and it's just a snippet. I coached house league soccer in Mississauga. You get involved. You put a net at either end or a scoreboard up, and you're going to be involved.
Oh, yeah.
Talented as Mitch, and the old story of driving to London. I think Mitch's first year as a London Knight, their townhome in Thornhill has caught fire. They're still going to the game. There's no turning around to check on it. The fire department had taken care of it, but Paul and Bonnie very much involved in what their son was doing, and brother Chris as well. Listen, They were good to me when he was there. Very, very polite and whatnot, but very, very motivated, and maybe for all concerned, having Mitch in Vegas might be a good thing for his mental health and his career. They're going to have a hell of a year down there. But in the meantime,
playing great.
He's a great player.
He's playing great down there. I mean, and he made that great save on the empty net the other night too. And I mean, he's a really, really good player, and he's making an impact down there. And speaking of impact, Henny, we got a few minutes left here with you, and I wanted to ask you this. I'm not trying to be all doom and gloom here, but Clarkey's concerned. Leaf fans are concerned. So I do want to ask you this, because, and I genuinely hope this isn't a hypothetical that comes to fruition. If the Leafs did miss the playoffs,
come on,
what
man.
Then? I have to ask.
Let's not talk about that yet.
I have to ask. What next?
Come on.
What comes after that?
We just having a prop ready.
Yeah, the prop was ready. Oh boy.
I'm in the kitchen here in Toronto.
Yeah.
Oh.
We don't have
like,
to
is anybody's
let's
job would
worry.
anybody's job be in jeopardy, do you think?
For sure.
Yeah, somebody's going to go.
Would it be Tree?
Too soon for him.
So then you think it'd be Berube then?
Yeah, that's a long ways away from now. Now I'm reading stuff that the Sabres are interested in Brendan Shanahan, maybe bringing the Shannon plan to Buffalo.
I heard that, yeah.
A team that's made the playoffs every year for a better part of a decade, that looks awfully attractive in Buffalo, where they've seen hide nor hair of that dance.
They could do a lot worse. I mean, like Brendan Shanahan, the work he did in Toronto, people in Buffalo would kiss his feet to have that happen down there.
Yeah.
They really would.
Ryan texted me during the game on Tuesday. Yeah. Or when was it? Monday? Whenever it was, he goes, these guys are going to get Berube fired. And I'm like, well, we'll see. And then I just responded. I started thinking, well, who's out there? And then I just said, Peter DeBoer.
Yeah.
Well, there's an interesting name that he's out there just sitting around. And pretty good coach. Got in a little trouble there with the goaltending, I think it was. In Dallas.
Yeah.
But you know, you got to look at, is there a guy out there better before you even think of firing your guy, right?
Yeah,
that's the thing, right?
Because it's not going to be Uncle Fester,
No.
the Detroit guy who's the assistant there. He looks like Uncle Fester.
Uncle Fester.
Yeah.
Inevitably, though, you got
Terrible
to have the players, right, guys? And maybe that's
No doubt.
country. And I was happy about Dakota Joshua. Clarkey, we were at that draft, I think.
When was that one?
I'm going to say 2010 or 11 in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Stu
Were
Percy.
you down for that? Stuart Percy. Yes, you were down for that. Yes,
Yep.
you were.
Yeah.
I think it was that draft,
Okay.
or maybe a year later.
Well,
David-
Ryan will Google it. He'll tell us.
David Brohl.
David B-roll. Yeah.
B-roll. Family drives all the way from Mississauga. There was no guarantees that the Bulldozer was going to get drafted, but they picked him in the 5th round. He's now a fireman, I think, in Mississauga.
Mhm.
Good guy. Great.
Wasn't the greatest first round for the Leafs, but I was so thrilled, as you know, with Stu, and he played 10 games, and that was it.
He retired now, or maybe Slovakia or wherever.
He was still playing last year, I think, but he has a
Okay.
child now, I think. So yeah.
But you know what, Clarkey? That draft.
Yeah.
Go to Dave Morrison and that. I think the 7 picks or whatever they got, they all ended up playing at least a season in the National Hockey League, or at least got games. Like all of them.
That's pretty good.
I'm talking.
Yeah.
I'm talking my head here, but I think they did, including.
It was a good draft year.
Yeah.
It was
Parents.
a really
Steve and
solid
Karen.
draft year.
Yeah.
Carrick?
Steve and Karen Percy, the mom and dad.
Yeah, Steve and Karen. Yep.
I still got it.
Yep.
Someday-
Know them well. Yes.
Oh,
Haven't talked
It's
to
a
them
lot
in a
of
while, but
college
know
up
them well.
there. Yeah. Joshua was 2014. Joshua was 2014.
Oh, 14.
5th round.
Where was
5th
that
round,
draft?
2014?
Was it
it
Philly?
Might be right there.
And did we get the GOAT with the first round? In
The
that?
GOAT. Where was the 2014? That's how I remember drafts, where they were.
Philadelphia.
John Bellagoat.
If it was Philadelphia, remember what happened in Philadelphia, wasn't it? Right after we got
It was,
picked off
yeah.
in the trade?
Wells Fargo Center, Philadelphia.
Got traded.
Yep.
Who was it again?
Van Riemsdyk.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we got a little
JVR.
tip off. Yeah,
JVR.
we
Good player.
had some
Still
good
doing it.
insiders helping
Oh,
us,
yeah.
didn't we? The whole time, Henny.
I'll tell you.
When I think back,
in the suite afterwards, and she knew about it. This is when things were a little different back then.
yeah.
There's that-
Well, when I think back at the drafts,
yeah.
and we used to try to mic a guy, right?
Brian
A
Burke,
player.
Montreal, 2009.
But I must have had 5 or 6 Leaf picks in consecutive years mic'd.
Yeah.
And it was just relationship building, right? And just talking to people. And I'm never going to say the guy's name and let it out, but we had some pretty good intel, and we had guys, Nazem Kadri, Morgan Riley, Stuart Percy, you name all their first round picks. They were wearing Leaf TV microphones
Yes.
when they got picked, which was cool.
And the cameras on them, and I know who
Yep.
you're speaking of, and it'll go unmentioned.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
you build this trust, Ryan. You just build a trust,
Mhm.
and we're trying to get a network off the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. What are they doing there now? They're doing some kind of show.
Yeah, Ryan Leslie is doing a hell of a job, and it's for social media platforms, right? The way that everything's done in broadcast, it's all changed.
Mhm.
But they're doing a lot of basically what we did.
They are.
And
Because I miss it. Henny, as a Leaf fan, I feel a little disserviced by what I see other teams do with full half-hour pregame shows, and that they're doing that, but it's all like on national games. It's not all on the Leafs, but it's that post-game show. As much as I maybe didn't like producing a 2-hour post-game show, they were so good.
It was special, though.
They were so good. You're in the locker room. 2 hours, remember we had Andy Frost taking calls at one point. We had we had players. It was a great way for a Leaf fan to wrap up a game. But an hour post-game show would be super. A half hour would be great. We don't get anything now.
Yeah.
Right? I know Ryan can watch his Washington Capitals and see Devontae Smith-Pelly after the game, another teammate of Stuart
DSP.
Percy doing a post-game show.
Yeah.
I don't see that as a Leaf fan, and it does. I feel ripped off. So
Yeah.
anyway.
No, it was quantity and it was quality. And you're right.
Yeah.
We overserved. And John Shannon, our boss back then, wanted that. And he had the right people in the right place. And again, on this show, I've said it before, best job ever done. It was cold and wet and snowy the other day. Clarkey and his crew getting us set up for 3 hours of live programming at University of Michigan. 2014. That was just beyond outstanding. And
should have won an award for that.
Yeah. Oh,
it was great.
We can talk to some.
It was so
retroactively.
Cold. It was so cold. Like the microphone boxes were freezing.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were freezing. It was so cold and snowy. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What an occasion.
Memories. Good memories.
Well,
we're hopeful.
It's been a lot of fun.
I'm gonna hopefully see you, Henny, at the Bowen appreciation game December 16th against the Chicago Blackhawks. Hopefully we'll see each other there.
That'll yeah, I had to look to see what game it is. I've only been to a couple of games since I left Tampa and Winnipeg last year with Bob McGill in the alumni box. So
nice.
Yeah.
Good. We'll have to see if those guys are going to be down. I talked to Rick Vive actually 2 days ago and just asked him if he was going to the game on the 16th, but he's not. So we won't see Rick. But
Chicago, Toronto.
I know, you would think.
Yeah, you'd think he'd be down there. Well, you guys will be down there, which will be a lot of fun. And Henny, we really appreciate this as always. Thanks so much for your insight. And we'll definitely have to do a check back in with you maybe in a couple months or so here. Post-Christmas, we'll open some gifts. Hopefully there's some more Leaf wins under the tree for you guys. And we can check in and maybe have a bit more of a positive conversation. All right?
Yeah, talk Clarkey and I off the ledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
I'm doing it a lot, brother. I'm doing it a lot. All right. Henny, thanks so much for doing this, my friend.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Henny.
All right. Paul Hendrick, ladies and gentlemen. There are few people that have been associated with the Maple Leaf brand that have been more fun and engaging to watch. And Clarkey, you talked about it, like a big part of that was the programming that was going on Leafs TV. And I was thinking about that the other day. Like, I can't believe that they need to bring that back. Like, I know that they've got, like Henny was talking about, what Leslie's up to with the social media stuff and Leafs Nation Network. It's not the same though. Like, I feel like a team with this type of stature and this type of passion behind it,
well, I said
they should have that. Like, it never should have went anywhere. And I mean, like most things, it comes down to money, but
I appreciate the effort of doing the pregame show. My biggest thing with the pregame show and my biggest problem with the pregame show they're doing is it's on Instagram, it's on Facebook, but they're not allowing you to cast it onto your TV. So like, why not put it on YouTube? Like, just put it on YouTube so I can watch it on my TV, just like I'm watching the pregame show.
We're on YouTube.
We're on YouTube.
Leafs,
it's easy.
We're on there. Get us in there.
But Leafs. I did not. I tried the other day because I was just on my phone, and I'm like, sometimes I just, you just don't want to watch your phone, right? You'd rather watch something on the TV. So I just wish they would put it on YouTube and so people can watch it on the TV, because I couldn't cast it. Maybe I could mirror my screen or whatever, but I couldn't cast it. So anyway.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. And look, I'm not trying to be the doom and gloom guy here for you. I'm just like worried about these boys here. And I mean, like, it's November.
There's no doubt I'm worried. Like, there's no doubt, but that's just not normal. But let's just give it some time. Let's just see.
Well, how are you feeling? How are you feeling about this cat here who's hurt again?
Well,
and since he called the team out, which I agreed with.
Yeah,
I agreed with him doing it. And then I didn't like that he walked it back a la Sheldon Keefe a couple of years ago when Mitch Marner kicked a bunch of sticks down the hallway. I'm floored by, like, look, this whole team's not playing well. They're scoring a lot, but like Henny said, I think they've given up the third or second most goals in the National Hockey League so far, which is terrible. They actually might be bottom of the league, which is insane. Crazy. Since he made those comments, though, he has the second worst save percentage in the NHL with a minimum of 200 shots faced. It's .874. He's got a 405 goals against average, which I believe is last in the NHL. It's not good. And like, look, I'm not blaming Anthony Stolarz, and I'm not have there been some pucks that you would like a guy who's 6'6" to stop? 100%. I mean, the one that went in the other night was like the Steves goal was crazy. Like, and he's clearly feeling it, much like the team is. I think that I would like to imagine that they're just in a funk that teams go through. These are human beings, and they're going to pop themselves out of it, because it's that old adage, Clarkey, like that Scotty Bowman said, no one's as good as they appear and no one's as bad as they appear. And there's no way that they're this bad. There's no way.
As you can always hear, show me a good goaltender, I'll show you a good coach, and vice versa. Like it's, you know what, like here's the problem. And too bad Joe Woll had to take that leave of absence, because competition helps everybody, makes everyone better. And quite frankly, like I was going to say the monster,
the beast.
The beast is not
Jonas Gustafsson is
yes, he's long gone,
far in the rear view.
Exactly, but the beast, Hildebeest, is not that. He's not there yet. Will he ever get there? We don't know, but he's certainly not at the level that Joe Woll was. But
I don't think that it's been his fault either. Like,
I'm not.
He goes in there and
mop-up
duty.
No,
I know
for sure. But hopefully they get some stability back there. Woll comes back on the weekend, gets Stolarz back. Have a true. I like what Carlo Koliakovo said the other day. 40, 40, 20. You're going to play 40, you're going to play 40, and the guy who plays best is going to play those other 20% of the games.
That's ideally what you would like, right? Unless you have a horse.
Let's be honest. In the past, they've been 1 and 1A. Like, there hasn't been a clear-cut 1 and 2. As it turned out in the playoffs last year, Stolarz was spectacular, and then until he got hurt, and then
he was hot down the stretch. You had to roll with him. No one
for sure
that.
So can the goalie get it back? Absolutely. Like, there's no doubt he can get it back, but they got to tighten up. Like, it is.
Well, the way they're
playing tonight. Let's just see. Let's get an update here. It's Thursday night.
We are recording.
I'm going to pick up
13th.
My phone here. Let's see what's happening tonight.
Yeah, is
scores.
It good news?
Is it good news? Maple Leafs 2, Los Angeles nothing.
Wow.
Johnny Tavares and Bobby McMahon. There you go. See, they're playing a good team today who just beat Montreal like 6-1.
5-1,
5-1. And they're winning 2-0 in the first. So there you go. Good start.
That's the thing with the Leafs, eh?
I know,
and I was watching Brian Hayes. I watched Brian Hayes say it today from their show in Winnipeg. The most Leafy thing ever is that without Matthews and Stolarz and Tanev, and they'll beat LA like 4-2. And they're on
all will be well
right now. So I don't know. That's a relative term, but
what have you done for me lately? You know that. And if they win tonight, they're like a point out of third place in the Atlantic. So
there's the one saving grace for them. There's the one saving grace for them is that there's nobody in the East that's running away with anything.
No. And Boston, I think, is playing over their head, but whatever.
They're playing real well. Yep, that's for sure. I look. There's the good news for them that everything's really bunched up, and Gary loves that. Gary loves that. We're gonna talk about Gary in a minute
for sure.
But
we are.
It's wild that it's so tight. So there's the good news for them is that even with them stubbing their toe quite a bit, they're not like miles away, and they're not in danger right now of falling miles away from getting back in a playoff picture potentially. The bad news for them is this, though, and this is super bleak thinking. My concern is what you said at the top of our little chat there with Paul Hendrick, who we thank again for joining us here. You can follow him, by the way, on social media at Henny Tweets. You said that you're scared the window is closing, and if that's true, they don't have a lot of pieces.
They have nothing, dude.
Draft cupboard.
They have nothing.
To start over
the cupboards are empty, as they say. They've cupboards are empty.
And here's the thing too, right? Like, people in Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's playing like above their heads right now.
They are
too. Like, that's fun. People in Pittsburgh are going, oh, this is terrible, and you got to trade this guy. Well, the thing with Pittsburgh is that they spent all those years trading away first and second round picks because they had won back-to-back cups, and they had a strong core that was proven that any general manager would have bet the farm on.
Mm-hmm.
And they can look back and go, well, look at those Stanley Cups on the shelf. The Leafs don't have that, obviously. And the problem is that Pittsburgh, as an example, traded those picks away and got tangible pieces that were part of their lineup that helped them keep racking wins up. The Leafs have not only burned a lot of draft picks, they've burned picks on getting rid of guys out of their lineup that turned into players that are on other teams. And that's scary stuff, because you can't look back and say, okay, well, we traded this pick and got this great guy.
Well, Patrick Marleau was one. Name some more. Like, how many other ones did they trade away?
Well, Marleau is the glaring one, because it turned into Seth Jarvis.
I get that, but that we weren't guaranteed the Leafs would have picked Seth Jarvis, first of all.
No, you're not, because
that's for sure.
A couple of years prior to that, they traded away a first-round pick to move back so that they could get Freddie Anderson and let Travis Konechny get picked, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, it's strange stuff, and they don't have a lot of picks. Look, God love the kid, but I can understand why people are frustrated with him. Brandon Carlo looks like a completely lost lamb out there. Like, he's got wolves circling around him every time the puck comes near him. Yeah. And they traded a lot for him. And of course, on Saturday, Fraser Minton scores.
Yeah, I think Fraser Minton's top third line player, but the first round pick is the big one. But yeah, Carlo's struggling. There's no doubt about it. But unless I've been wrong all the years he played in Boston, unless the Leaf Pro Scouts have been wrong, this guy can play D. He can play D. So he's struggling right now.
I hope so. I sure hope so, because he wasn't very good in the playoffs, and now it's looking even worse.
I think if we look back at last year's trade deadline show, you and I both said that was a really strong move for the Leafs to get this guy. So
I thought it was a good addition. I did say they overpaid for him. However, I think it's tough to look back and blame Tree in that situation, only because other teams would have paid that too.
And Henny said it,
because he's a right-hander.
And I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, but Henny said it. This team was one win away from beating the Stanley Cup champions and moving on to the Final Four.
Well,
have I ever said that? Have I said that? I don't remember.
You've said it, and it doesn't really ring true for me, because
I know it doesn't, but it's the truth.
With my friends that are Leaf fans, they actually played 5.5 games against Florida, because 2 of those games were not even contests. Like, 2 of those games were not.
They still beat them 3 times, no matter what. However you want to slice it up, they beat them 3 times. Yes, I was at one of those 6-1 losses, so don't worry. I saw it firsthand.
It's like, you know what that playoff series against Florida was like? It's like, how when you get a pizza delivered to your house and the delivery guy like leaves it slanted in your doorway and half the toppings slide all onto one side? That's what the series was against Florida last year. You have a pizza, but a bunch of toppings are all on one side, and the rest of the pizza is
3 games. Dude.
The rest of the pizza
for 3 games
is a not competitive pizza. It's not a competitive pizza.
You can slice it any way you want it,
Christopher.
But
you're trying to slice it.
I'm just telling you, and like, I'm not saying we're going to celebrate the fact in 5 years they made it to 7 games against Florida. It was a failure. They lost.
There's nothing.
I agree. They lost. They went to 7 games against the eventual champs, who no other team took to 7 games. This team was close last year. They were very, very close, and it didn't happen. And as I said, I'm kind of worried about it now. But they were close. They were close last year. I don't know,
Clarkey. Like, that's like blowing 4 of your fingers off with a firework and saying, at least I still have my thumb. Like, I don't know what you're really trying to sell me here. Like, I don't know.
Let's move on. Well, let's just agree to disagree, because they were close. Again, I'm not celebrating that. I'm not celebrating it. And games 5 and 7 were disastrous, especially at home. No doubt about it.
I don't know.
But the bottom line is they were 1 game away from moving on to the Final Four.
weren't they ever? I don't know. I kind of think it's like stubbing your toe and tripping with 3 miles left in a
How many more analogies do you want to say? Like, I'm just going to sit back and you can say
fun
3
today.
or 4 more. Go ahead.
I'm just feeling fun today, you know? All right. Now, speaking of fun.
Speaking of fun, let's talk about elephants.
Speaking of fun. Look, I don't think that anybody that's watching this program is, opposed to the two of us in our view of Gary Bettman, the much maligned commissioner of the National Hockey League, who he himself is a member of the prestigious Hockey Hall of Fame, which I don't necessarily agree with, but okay. Well, he's there the other night for the induction ceremony, and he's rattling names off, and he gets to Jumbo Joe Thornton, the pride of St. Thomas. Do you see that clip of Thornton like reading off the St. Thomas Stars?
Yep.
Starting line.
What a winner! What a guy! He's so good.
Absolute character. He's such a character. We need him in media immediately.
Good luck.
And I was laughing at people like what is he wearing? I was just looks like Captain Jack Sparrow. It's pretty good. Yeah, like it's pretty good stuff. But you can tell the guy cares, right? And I would just like to see the same semblance of care from Gary when it comes to our game and our stars. Like Joe Thornton, one of the best passers in NHL history. I'd put him top 5, honestly. And a guy that really helped drive and keep hockey popular in San Jose. And his name is Jumbo Joe. And for Gary to get up there, if you haven't seen the clip, go check it out. Gary talking about the class, and he calls him Dumbo. And just, God, Gary, like Dumbo.
That's the
come on
flips ever.
Gary, like, you gotta be kidding me. And then he catches himself and goes, "Oh, sorry, Jumbo.
Jumbo."
I'm like, Gary, like, and the camera, the producer who was doing that show should be given an Emmy, because they immediately flashed to Duncan Keith, and the expression on his face was priceless. I couldn't believe it.
They weren't thrilled. Put it that way.
They were not.
And it's
thrilled.
Too bad. Like, it's just, Gary tried to get sweet. He called everyone by their nicknames, and then he got
Dunks and Z and Dumbo.
And then Dumbo. And like, sometimes, like, Joe's a simple guy, right? Like, was this like a little slip that maybe they
I don't know,
used that name in the past in the offices, and it slipped out? I would hate to think that, but Joe seems like such a lovable, great guy. I thought his speech was terrific.
Who doesn't like Joe Thornton?
It's amazing. It was, for him to play a little bit with the Leafs was great too. Basically he was Mitch and Austin's dad there for a while. Him and Marlowe really took them under their wings, and it was great. But
I like
that slip up.
Not Gary. It's just another one in a long line of blunders in Gary Bettman's career that fans can't stand. And like, look, hey, I make mistakes. I got roasted for a mistake I made on air recently, and like, we're human beings who make mistakes. It's just like, Gary, like, this is the biggest night of this guy's life, and you called him Dumbo. And it took you like 5 seconds to correct yourself. Like, come on, Gary, like, have a little bit of class here. Let's throw this up. This is your 2025 Hall of Fame class, all very deserving. Brianna Decker. How about Danielle Sauvageau, longtime staple with the Canadian women's team, the first woman to be inducted in the builders category at the Hockey Hall of Fame. Very significant stuff. Zdeno Chara, a.k.a. Clarkey's Nightmare. Duncan Keith. Alex McGillney.
Who's my Chara? Well, whatever.
Chara, yeah. Chara is... I think he's in the back of your nightmares. Alex McGillney took way too long for this guy to get in the Hall of Fame. Thank God he's in there. Absolutely deserved.
Good Leaf.
Very good Leaf. Scored 40 goals. One of the most talented players ever. You talk to guys that like played back then and played with and against him, and they're like, this guy could have, like, he was just a psycho with the puck. Joe Thornton, we've already talked a lot about him. Jack Parker, of course, long history and indelible mark on college hockey. Jennifer Botterill, well deserved as well. She probably should have been in a few years ago too. when this happens,
she was inducted for her playing, right? Not her announcing, right?
She was in Clarkey. We're not doing that here, okay? Like we roasted
I
Gary.
just asked a
not doing
question.
that.
No, she was a good player.
She was inducted for. She was a very good player.
She was. I'm happy for her and her family.
And a good.
I like what they did
ambassador.
actually on hockey night on Saturday night. It was nice.
It was very nice that they brought her family. Really cool.
It was.
And
It was.
when stuff like this happens, it always, calls to mind, well, who's going to get in next year? And there's some names on a list that I'd love to throw at you. Some guys that are eligible for the first time.
Hey, let's go through and ask me, and I'll give you quick answers.
And I'll respond as well. Okay, so this guy,
rapid response.
This guy is first year eligible. I don't even need you to confirm this because he's going in. Patrice Bergeron.
Well,
Patrice Bergeron's walking into the Hall of Fame. Record 6-time winner of the Selke Trophy, by the way. What about Phil Kessel?
Yes.
I don't think next year, though. I think Phil is a guy that gets in like 10, 15 years. I don't look at him as I look at a name and go, good one, Ryan. Good one. I don't think I love Phil. We all love Phil. I
think it'll be touch and go. I think he may get in first.
I think he may get into based on some other guys that have gotten in, and I don't want to bring up names because that's disrespectful.
Won cups. He was very good.
He was very good. I don't know if he was Hall of Fame good,
okay,
though.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Okay.
Eric Stahl, I feel the same way about this guy.
Hmm.
I love Eric Stahl as a player. I don't think he's a Hockey Hall of Famer. 1 cup. Hurricanes. All-time leading scorer for the Hurricanes. Here's one for you.
I almost like him better than Phil, but go on.
Yeah, 1,000 points.
Go on.
I might like him better than Phil, too. The coach down there. How about Rod the Bod Brindamore?
Not first time. No.
I think he gets in. 1,184 points, 2-time Selke winner, Cup champ. I think he probably gets in. What about Vinny Domfus?
Vinny Domfus, former Leaf, former Hab.
Former Leaf. Yep. Cup with the Habs in 93.
Across to me as a Hall of Famer. Sorry.
1,205 points.
Yeah.
I think he probably gets in. He might be a guy that
future?
gets in like 10, 15 years.
Yeah. Paul Henderson.
Paul, I feel like he should be in simply for what his accomplishments just in that series meant to the game.
Sort. But
anyway, he is like he's in that international section.
Yeah, but his name's
there.
He's not on a plaque.
What about Patrick Eliash?
No.
More of a playoff dominator.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. I see a name and I just get a gut feeling and I go, yes, no. And Eliash to me is, what about Theo Fleury?
I wonder if his recency, off the deep end stuff
his heel turns, if you will. Yeah, it's hard to say for Theo. A very likable and engaging player, a fun player, and a guy that overcame a lot of terrible stuff in his life. I just don't know. Yeah, I'm not feeling Theo. What about Ryan Getzlaf? Here's a real good one. I think Getzy gets in. I don't like him next year, but I think he does get in 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
I think he gets in 2 or 3
Corey
years.
Perry and Ryan Getzlaf were 2 of my favorite non-Leafs of all time.
They were awesome. So much fun to watch, dude.
Yeah.
So much fun to watch. I can't believe this guy didn't get in this year, but you look at the class that was eligible and you understand this guy for sure is going in next year. Carey Price. Carey Price is going in. Carey Price is going in.
How many championships did he win?
No championships, but when you're talking about individual accolades,
I'm sure.
Hockey gold medal, World Junior gold medal, World Hockey Championship. I mean, he's one of very few guys that won a Hart and Vezina trophy in the same year. That guy was a psycho.
He'll be in.
Absolute psycho. He's getting in. For sure he's getting in. What about a guy like Henrik Zetterberg? His teammate's in. His running mate Pavel Datsuk's in there. I don't know about Zetterberg, though. Because my thing with this is part of it is I go, Was he ever the best player at his position? And if the answer is no, then you start going, okay, well, what kind of numbers did they pile up? Did I ever feel like they were the heartbeat of a team? I don't know. I feel like Zetterberg, as much as I love that guy, and I would have taken him on my team any day of the week.
I think he'll get in eventually.
I think he probably will too, just internationally. Like, that matters too. Like,
now this list you're giving us, this isn't first time eligible guys, is it?
A few of the first,
yeah, Bergeron, but not everybody you're mentioning.
Bergeron is, Stahl was,
yeah,
Carey Price's second year. Here's the thing I want to ask you about, and don't piss me off, okay? So I
have some things too. I have 3 things I want to run by you before we finish.
Okay, I'll
you go and then I'll go.
And they were talking about this little on Overdrive. When Sid and Ovi both retire, they waive the waiting period, right? Like, they walk them right into the hall. Yes, they do.
They have rules.
Oh, I said, don't piss me off.
They have rules, dude.
You're
not allowed. You're not.
They skirt them for exceptional players, and you cannot say in modern day NHL the 2 players that have had the biggest impact on this sport are Alexander Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby.
When's the last
Wayne
time?
Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux.
Yeah, but since then,
these guys are right
new
there.
Rule. And one of the reasons was Mario Lemieux was put in and then started playing again. And they said, you know what? From now on, we are not waiving it. And I wasn't aware they have an exemption rule.
It's their thing. They can do it, and they should do it for those 2. They should do it.
If there's a rule, if there's a rule
they can
that exists right now that
the
you
Hockey
can do
Hall
it,
of Fame committee,
fine.
The Hockey Hall of Fame committee can vote to waive the waiting period.
Okay.
And if they don't do it for those 2 guys, they better never ever do it again.
You're right. Yep. No.
And
if there's a rule, then I'm okay with it. But if there's no rule, then they can't come up and say,
you should be okay with it.
Let's just put these guys in. Let's waive the rule.
2 of the most historically significant players that will ever touch the ice, ever.
Okay, I got to ask you a few things.
Please. Yeah, we got what?
John Schneider. I want your opinion on him not winning the AL.
Absolute joke. They hosed John Schneider. Steven Vogt won because the Tigers choked. John Schneider
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
What John Schneider achieved with the Jays, by the way, the Guardians won 4 less games than they did the year prior when he also won. And I loved that he won last year. Stevie Vogt, former A, good guy. Absolute shambolic joke that he won. And it's American guys not wanting to vote for the guy that's coaching the Canadian team. Hose job that John Schneider wasn't the AL Manager of the Year. Joke.
And just tonight, AL MVP is out, and it is Aaron Judge. Do you think he should have won it? Or Cal Raleigh?
I don't have a problem with Judge winning it simply because when you look at the all-around batting numbers that he has, more impactful hitter than the Big Dumper. If the Big Dumper had won because of the history that he made playing that position, I would have been fine with it too. I have zero problem with Aaron Judge winning it. He's the best player in baseball.
So Mike DeMurgis, our good friend from New York, just texted me and said Cal Raleigh should have won, no doubt. And Ohtani, of course, wins in the National League. Finally, we have a couple minutes left. Grey Cup. We haven't talked about Grey Cup. The Argos aren't in it, of course. Montreal and Saskatchewan.
They need a coach.
A lot of people still seem to care about it. I just hope Montreal loses because I don't like any team from Montreal. And yes, the Argos need a coach, and I really, really hope Mike O'Shea comes back to work with his buddy.
I think he will.
I hope that happens, and that'll be good news for the Argos. And
they have more money than anybody in the league.
It's going to be such a screwy year next year, though, because they're kicking them out of BMO, and they're going to be playing on the road for games and everything else. It's going to be a stupid year for them.
Well, and
the league, the league should be embarrassed with what's happening there. They should have found a home somewhere, Guelph, like Hamilton did, somewhere to play their games. But anyway, so
Western.
Who do you like, Saskatchewan or Montreal?
Montreal's better offensively and they're faster. I just think that that Sask is too tough. They play smash mouth football. They're old school. They're gritty, and they're hungry. They haven't won since 2013. I like Sask.
I think every time Saskatchewan gets in the Grey Cup, if they're not playing the Argos, they should win because their fan base is outstanding.
Their fan base, unbelievable. Yeah, the Green
is.
Army. Yeah,
is.
It's crazy stuff. Excited to watch that. Excited to see if your Leafs can turn this around here. We'll see.
Let's
all
get
right?
a last second update. What's happening? It's probably
We'll get a last second update. How
it's
about
probably
that?
intermission. You can start wrapping up the show, and I'll just.
We appreciate Paul Hendrick joining us here. We appreciate
2-0.
everybody watching and listening. 2-0. How about that? Maybe the tides are turning.
Yeah.
All right. We're on all your favorite podcast apps. Follow us on social media at
including
Pod.
YouTube.
You can watch us. Yes, YouTube. Of course, we're on YouTube. You know that. And of course, you can watch us on Rogers TV. So we really appreciate everybody listening, watching. We will be back next week with more instigating.